We've got Fox News contributor Tammy Bruce. Tammy, that's quite a plan. Especially
Is that a plan?
Yeah,
It's like some flailing.
Yeah, what do you think?
I just looked up this number from Gothamist. As of January 8th this year, there are 67,880 homeless children and adults who are not illegal aliens or migrants on the streets of New York City. Now, they're in shelters, these larger shelters. They're not in hotels, right? They're not going to go into somebody's condo, right? That the city's going to pay for. What happened to these people? So this is the argument: is that there seems to be not only points about the notion of what already New Yorkers can't pay for their apartments, but then for those who even can or scoot by, this inevitably is going to make prices rise, because the city is not going to pay a low price, right? They're going to pay probably higher, and that's what they're going to. We're paying higher prices. We're giving Americans, New Yorkers, the money. The fact of the matter is that then changes the marketplace itself, and there's already not enough apartments. We clearly know now there's no hotel. Hotel rooms are being taken up for this space. So you're looking at an economic dynamic that then some people are going to want. They're probably going to prefer the city. This is like a socialism dynamic. It's about, single-payer health care. People always want to just worry about one source of the income. You don't want to have to worry about someone who's living paycheck to pay you. So why not have it be the government? Where does that leave people in general in the market?
Yeah.
And these other homeless people who are perhaps on the street because they don't have enough money to live in an apartment, even a low-cost one.
The other thing, too, is if the White House is acting like you deal with the border crisis we created, cities and states and border states. And New York City Mayor Eric Adams reportedly dropped from Biden's 2024 advisory board for his campaign, because he was critical of the Biden White House strategy on immigration. Let's get your reaction to White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. Watch her condemn the practice of transporting migrants because it puts pressure on non-border states and cities. Watch this.
I've said it many times from here, repeatedly from this podium, that busing or flying migrants around the country without any coordination with the federal government, we've talked about this, state or local officials as well, is dangerous and unacceptable.
So what is the White House doing to coordinate what they're doing, shipping? You know what I mean with the border crisis?
Yeah, originally, remember, they were also flying migrants in the dead of night to certain cities. But it's only not dangerous if they get to choose where these people go, all right? And this is nothing compared to what El Paso and every border town is dealing with. The presumption is that these people would never have left, that it would have been affecting the, red Texas and red Florida and red Arizona. It's going to negatively affect the nature of the people that they perhaps did not necessarily see as allies. So this is all politics. The problem with Adams and the White House is that instead of recognizing the policy problem with drugs and with this immigration dynamic, this was not delivered by leprechauns. It's their policy that has done this, affecting every state in the union now. Crime is increasing, and the nature, of course, how it's affecting the economy.
It's a great point. Tammy Bruce, come back. Don't be a stranger.
Thank you.
We love having you on the show.